And when I say hoe phase, I don't mean that I was like accepting.
Today's video, I had a salute phase. Let's watch.
Amazing. Today is my first full day as a 28-year-old. Yesterday was my birthday. And I think I started this channel right before I turned 26. So I know at the beginning of the year, I set my 2018 sex goals. And after reviewing the episode, I've actually achieved a lot of those goals in one way or another, but I kind of deviated severely from one. And like I said, it's more of a deviation than it has been a complete failure. I'll cut to the chase. These last 10 months, January to October, have been my hoe months. I've been doing some fuckboy shit and some hoe shit. So for a bit, I felt really guilty about it.
But of course she felt guilty about doing it. She knew deep down it was not the right thing to do. She knew it. It was a conscience telling her all along, this is not right, this was wrong. But I wish she would have listened to her conscience instead of making decisions that could affect her for the rest of her life.
And then I started to question, like, why am I doing this? Why am I behaving this way? Why am I going outside of the norm of how I generally behave to this, like, who is this person?
Once again, that was your conscience letting you know that this was wrong. It was not right. I know a lot of women follow the womanist movement, and it tells them all the time to have as many sexual partners as possible. But guess what? Biologically, a woman is not supposed to have that many sexual partners. Sleeping with a lot of people is something that can lead to a lot of depression in the future. It really does affect women in the long run.
And when I say hoe phase, I don't mean that I was like accepting money in exchange for sex. Definitely not that. But, you know, like, I've been having a good amount of sex. And quite a few partners, more than I think I've had up until this point. Most, if not all, I've had sex with previously or I've known for a really long period of time.
Called it a bullshit.
The one instance where it felt like it was going to be a one-night stand, and that would have been my first one-night stand, actually turned out to be more of like a continuing tryst. So why am I sharing this? I already know in my comments there's going to be all kinds of like finger pointers and Bible thumpers, but like, you know what, fuck it, this is my reality. And I think at a certain point with this channel, I've kind of deviated from what I initially wanted it to be, which was very raw and real and point blank, to trying to be, you know, educational and very heavily spiritual. And while that is very much who I am, I think I need to go back to that middle ground. This is my middle ground. I personally attribute my hoe phase to a couple of different factors. Without dragging this on too long, let's get into those. Just keep in mind that everybody deals with things differently and everybody has a hoe phase or doesn't have a hoe phase for their own individual reasons. These are my reasons. This is what happened. So first, I never had one. Most people have a hoe phase or some semblance of that when they're in college. I had a boyfriend. Honestly, for like the last 9-10 years, I've been in some state of perpetual relationship. And even to my situations that weren't fully monogamous, I operate more on the monogamous level. So, you know, even though there were open relationships, I generally stuck to my one bullshit. So yeah, I never had one. My second reason is a lot more real and maybe a lot more relatable to other people, but I was mad depressed.
Now, depression is not something to be taken too lightly. Personally, I have a very close family member of mine who do get depressed, and I see how it affects her on a regular basis. But however, now my question to her would be, how does having a ton of sexual partners make things a lot better? How does that make you less depressed when it only leads to you being depressed a lot more?
27 was a pretty difficult year for me. I was severely depressed. My relationship ending the month after my birthday was, you know, like actually took a lot more of a toll on me than I think I wanted to admit. I wanted to come off as very strong and just move on and keep it pushing. And months later, I realized, fuck, like I'm not happy.
Somehow she is kind of right when she said that people handle stuff differently. People deal with stuff differently. But my other question would be, Wouldn't it be better maybe to seek some professional help to help you get through this? Or, instead of sleeping with a bunch of different guys.
So, typical coping mechanism for people trying to avoid their depression, spending time with other people, distracting themselves with other people, and that's kind of what I was doing. And honestly, it wasn't the whole shit that made me realize that I was depressed. It was when that depression started to spill into other aspects of my life, like keeping my room clean.
Women who sleep around usually have messy cars, messy houses, messy bedrooms. Yes. Yeah, I've met a lot of those.
Went to the gym, I started getting kind of chunky. My plants were dying, and you guys know I love my plant babies. Not filming the episode, I didn't feel inspired. It really wasn't until all those things started to happen that I was able to, one, focus on those things, and once I got that kind of situated, step back and be like, okay, what's actually the root of the problem here? What's going on? Even though I really, really liked it. So my third reason, I really like sex. We know this. This is a thing. We have a channel called In Bed with Bella. I talk about sex because I really, really, really like sex. I have no shame in admitting that. So you can understand my confusion in myself when I was shaming myself for having a hoe phase. I know that even though I wasn't always acting from a place of mindfulness, I vetted my partners, I use protection. These aren't shitty rando people that I'm picking up off the street and then I feel guilty. These are people that I genuinely care or like. I enjoyed every single one of those multiple orgasms, and no one's gonna shame me for that, especially not myself. Men get to have sex with multiple partners and get praised for it.
Well, I got some bad news for you now. A woman cannot sleep around like a man can. That's the way society makes it. Now, is it fair? Absolutely not. But that's just the way it's going to be. It's not going to change anytime soon, whether you like it or not. Now, you could drink the woman's Kool-Aid all you want also. But guess what? What they forgot to tell you is all that sleeping around that you guys do, that you women do, also has an expiration date. So I hope you understand that. So by the time you're 32 or 35, waking up with no man, single and bitter, and wondering why nobody wants to date you, that's going to be exactly why. No man with any kind of means, it's going to take a woman who sleeps around seriously. That's just a fact.
For it. They get to have sex with no emotional ties, and it's no problem. Special alert, so do women. So those are my reasons. Where do I stand now? 28, I'm seeing through whole new eyes, right? Yeah, kind of. In all honesty, I get over things really quickly. When I was 21, 22, I used to love to go to the clubs. By 23, I was over it. It was the same shit every night, same people doing the same thing, talking about nothing, and it just got boring. After about 10 months of doing the same whole shit, I'm kind of over it. That's kind of where I stand. It's getting kind of boring. I said at the beginning of the year, my 2018 sex goals video, that I wanted a relationship, and that's still true. It's actually probably more true now than it was when I first said it, and I actually probably believe it more now when I first said it. Honestly, over the last 2 months or so, my hoe antics have kind of gone down. They've diminished quite a bit. I always say on my channel that I want it to be a place where we can all discuss openly how we feel. I would ask, however, that, super religious, super judgy people keep their commentary to themselves. There's a whole other channel that talks about purity and all the shit that you guys are interested in. Somewhere else on YouTube, this is not the spot. I'm not here to judge anybody else. Please don't judge me. I really enjoyed my hoe phase. I did. I had great sex with great guys and a girl. I think the whole thing was I was really shaming myself for it. And I think that was all just a part of the depression cycle, trying to keep myself down, trying to give myself reason to be depressed as opposed to just figuring out what the issue was and actively working towards getting myself out of it. And now that I've gotten myself to a place where I actively feel like I'm getting myself out of it, then I can look back at my whole phase and be like, Yo, that was fun. Good shit. Good stuff. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you for joining.
That's it for this video, guys. Please like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.